And here at this point, I really want to start to get into scripture. So I'm gonna read you a lot about Revelation right now, and I'm gonna try to establish some regular themes or occurrences that we can see over and over in Revelation, hinting to some of the things which are to come. Now, if we go back to the overview, you can see in the top we have the treaty with Israel to start tribulation. The things which I'm going to read you are not going to be the beginning. This is more so going to be towards the middle or the end of the 7-year tribulation period. But don't worry about it. It's just so you have a general idea where within that time frame this takes place. But you don't have to remember that. We're going to go through everything one by one together, and I'm going to tell you what needs to happen first for tribulation to start off. But just so you have a general idea, the scriptures which I'm going to read you right now and the themes which I'm going to establish happen somewhere around the middle and the later point of tribulation. So, for example, we have Matthew 24:24. For false Christs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. So this clearly alludes to a fake second coming, fake prophecy, fake signs, wonders, possibly even miracles, which will lead astray even the elect. Okay, remember the scripture, many are called, few are chosen. So this is going to be so convincing that even people who are with Christ will leave their faith. Now, there's some arguments there where people say, oh, if you leave Christ, you've never been with Christ to begin with. But I personally disagree. I think you can know truth, but be overwhelmed by temptation. The Bible clearly tells you that no man is beyond tempted what he can bear. And there's also a scripture where it says people will depart from the faith. So you can expect a false second coming, false prophets who will perform great miracles that will deceive even those who knew the truth and who possibly knew the chapters of Revelation, because it's so convincing. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 9 to 11. The coming of the lawless one, which is the Antichrist, will be in accordance with how Satan works. He will use all sorts of displays of power through signs and wonders that serve the lie, and all the ways that wickedness deceives those who are perishing. They perish because they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason God sends them a powerful delusion so that they will believe the lie. Once again, what does it mean? The coming of the lawless one will be in accordance with how Satan works. How does Satan works? He masquerades as an angel of light. So he will disguise himself to be something good. Once again, we see this notion that there's going to be great signs and wonders that will deceive many people. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 3 to 4. Don't let anyone deceive you in any way, for that day will not come until the rebellion occurs and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the man doomed to destruction. He will oppose and will exalt himself over everything that is called God or is worshipped, so that he sets himself up in God's temple, proclaiming himself to be God. And then we also see in 1 Timothy chapter 4 verses 1. Now the Spirit expressly says that in later times, again this is hinting to the end times, in later times some will depart from the faith by devoting themselves to deceitful spirits and teachings of demons. Then we also have Revelation chapter 16 verse 13 to 14. And I saw coming out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, 3 unclean spirits like frogs, for they are demonic spirits performing signs, who go abroad to the kings of the whole world to assemble them for battle on the great day of God the Almighty. Revelation 13:14. And by the signs that it is allowed to work in the presence of the beast, it deceives those who dwell on earth, telling them to make an image for the beast that was wounded by the sword and yet lived. And here's when I want to get into the second theme, which we're going to establish. First one is that there's going to be great signs and wonders, which are going to deceive humanity. And the second is going to be that there seems to be a sort of war taking place, or a sort of wound which the quote-unquote spiritual enemy or the beast is going to receive, which it will survive. So now we're going to establish the second theme of the chapters of Revelation, which is that there seems to be a sort of a war taking place. So if we once again look at the timeline, you will have 2 witnesses which are going to come and prophesy during the times of tribulation. These 2 prophets are going to be of God. So we have Revelation Chapter 11, verse 3. And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. Revelation 11:4. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. Revelation 11:5. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth, and devoureth their enemy. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. Revelation 11:6. These two have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. So you can see these 2 prophets are going to be tremendously powerful. They literally have the power to shut heaven in of itself. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. And their dead bodies, this is Revelation 11:8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom in Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. Revelation 11:9-10. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, and make merry, and shall send gifts to one another, because these 2 prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. So basically, the people didn't like to hear the truth, and they will be happy and glad that the beast overcame the 2 prophets. We can see here that the beast is going to kill and overcome God's prophets, which is once again going to be part of that big and strong delusion. But let's remember real quick that they have the power to shut heaven. So it is not that the beast actually overcomes them, but that God merely allows the beast to overcome them, the same way that on earth Satan only appears to be winning, because in the end good and truth and Jesus will prevail. In the same way, Jesus could have, with a snap of his finger, called on millions of angels, but he didn't. He let them crucify him. The same way these 2 witnesses are going to let the beast kill them. And we can also see the scripture surrounding this. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 11. For this reason God sends them a powerful delusion, so that they will believe the lie. So once again, this is not the enemy overcoming God, but is God allowing the enemy to overcome him. So we have Revelation 17:8. The beast which you saw once was, now is not, and yet will come up out of the abyss and go to its destruction. The inhabitants of the earth, whose names have not been written in the book of life from the creation of the world, will be astonished when they see the beast, because it once was, now is not, and yet will come. Now, this could mean a lot of things. This could mean that this beast, which it's referencing, has appeared before in biblical times, or in history, in past, and it's going to reappear. But what I'm really trying to point out is right here is that as well, that those who are not of God, they will be astonished when they see the beast. Most likely because the beast is going to kill the 2 witnesses and is going to, quote unquote, overcome or win the supposed battle. But that battle, and there are many theories around this, and I'm going to get into this, could be a sort of fake battle, or just a sort of like a role play where they already know they're going to win. It is just to deceive the people. We're going to get into that though. So we see here again, the beast out of the sea. The dragon stood on the shore of the sea, and I saw a beast coming out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 crowns on its horns, and on each head a blasphemous name. The beast I saw resembled a leopard, but had feet like those of a bear, and mouth like that of a lion. The dragon gave the beast his power and his throne and great authority. One of the heads of the beast seemed to have a fatal wound, and the fatal wound had been healed. Once again, this could allude to some type of battle where he got injured but overcome the opposition. Because obviously for wicked people, they will call woe to those that call evil good and good evil. So when you're drowning in compassion, you will think that God's laws are evil. So they will cheer because the beast will seem to have overcome the quote unquote enemy. And that's why it seems to have a fatal wound. This is speculation, but this seems to me what it's implying. And then you see the whole world was filled with wonder and followed the beast. People worshipped the dragon because he had given authority to the beast, and they also worshipped the beast and asked, who is like the beast? Who can wage war against it? Once again, why would they say who can wage war against it if it wasn't for a great display where it has successfully won a war recently. Now, once again, we need to distinguish, as you see in verse 4, people worship the dragon because he had given authority to the beast, and they also worship the beast. So the man of lawlessness will reveal himself first, and after that the beast will come out of the sea. Now, you see this description, 10 horns and 7 heads, 10 crowns. This could be metaphorically, this could also be a literal beast coming out of the sea. But just so you get the second notion, or the second theme, is that there seems to have taken place a war which the beast will have overcome, which will cause the people to be like, who can wage war against the beast? Who can oppose it? This must be God. He has won the war. He has been wounded, but he overcame it. We're going to worship him, right? Revelation 13:14. And by the signs that it is allowed to work in the presence of the beast, it deceased those who dwell on earth, telling them to make an image for the beast that was wounded by the sword and yet lived. Now let's establish the third theme, or the pattern we can recognize throughout the scriptures. And this is going to have to do with giants, believe it or not. Now, this is a possibility, which is why I'm going to put in parentheses possible, because this is not 100% clear. But let me read to you. Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 to 4, increasing corruption on earth. When man began to multiply on the face of the land and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive, and they took as their wives any they chose. Then the Lord said, my spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. Now once again, verse 4, the Nephilim, these are the giants, and also the sons of God in that context. It is talking about those who fell from heaven. And here I'm going to read to you Book of Enoch, chapter 7. Now, if you don't want to accept the Book of Enoch because it is not in the official canon, you're free to do that. But nonetheless, I'm going to read it anyhow. And they took wives for themselves, and everyone chose for himself one each. And they began to go into them and were promiscuous with them. And they taught them charms and spells, and they showed them the cutting of roots and trees. And they became pregnant and bore large giants, and their height was 3,000 cubits. Once again, you see there at the bottom the references, what this is referencing. And you see Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 to 4. So, those who fell from heaven, they had intercourse with the women, and they taught them charms and spells, basically fallen knowledge, and the giants came out of them. So here we have the book of Enoch, chapter 8, and Azazel, once again, Azazel is one of those fallen angels who had intercourse with the woman from which the giants came. And Azazel taught men to make swords and daggers and shields and breastplates, and he showed them the things after these, and the art of making them, bracelets and ornaments, and the art of making up the eyes, and of beautifying the eyelids, and the most precious stones and all kinds of colored dyes, and the world was changed. Now, if any women of you are watching right now, just so you understand, the origin of coloring your eyes and putting makeup on your face to make yourself more attractive and beautiful is of a fallen angel. Because you are already beautiful. You're made in the image of God. You do not need to draw on your face to become beautiful. And we can see here in the book of Enoch that this whole thing with putting black on your eyes to make like the cat eyes, or putting black on your eyelids, is demonic, or at least of a demonic origin, because it is demonic. Makeup is demonic. You're making something up. You're lying. You're deceiving. You're using your flesh to attract. And this is not to judge you. This is just to reveal to you your own ignorance, or how the world is misguided. Because if you use your flesh to attract, you will only attract what is of the flesh. You will only attract misery and pain with this. And let's think about some other certain trends that they have somehow convinced women to do. The nails that women wear. What do you think those nails signify? Who told women this looked good? Look at this. What do you think this is? Exactly, these are claws. Who convinced women to have claws as their nails? And why do we think this is somehow remotely even normal? Once again, it's just a sign of the times, but this is just something I find very interesting. The origin of makeup and beautifying the eyelids using eyeliner, etc., was fallen angels. And this is also why, yeah, because this is in a sense whorish behavior. You want to solicit fleshly attention by making yourself into an object of sexual desire. Because once again, why do you put red lipstick? Because it is supposed to signify increased blood flow to the lips when you're aroused as a woman, right? You hide your pimples, you hide your imperfections. Why? To be an object of desire. You're objectifying yourself. So, yeah, I don't want to offend any of you if you're watching, but this is fallen behavior, and we can see here as well that the origin of this is demonic, of fallen angels. This is also why, if I ever have a wife, I will not have her wear makeup. Why would you wear makeup? You don't need it. You're pretty without it. It's not about how you look. It's about your heart, right? Spirit, flesh. Anyway, little sidetrack there. But there was great impiety and much fornication, and they went astray, and all their ways became corrupt. Amezarak, once again another fallen angel, taught all those who cast spells and cut roots. Armaros the release of spells, and Barakil astrologers, and Kokabil portents, and Tamil taught astrology, and Azradel taught the path of the moon. Once again, this is alluding to the same thing we have nowadays. All the occultism, all the fallen knowledge, all the deceptions, these are the teachings which they taught them originally. Now, people always say, oh, New Age is something new. No. New Age is the same thing, repackaged. All these belief systems that go against Christianity, the root is all the same. It is all fallen knowledge here to deceive you or have you run up a mountain which is actually empty by thinking, oh, you're going to acquire all this knowledge and then you're going to be super enlightened. And these are all deceptions. Because once again, what is a deception? It doesn't have to be a lie per se. The very original deception was we will have knowledge of good and evil. It was true. We have knowledge of good and evil, and a lot of these teachings are true, but they're not the truth. Because it's black magic, or it is black magic turned or hiding under a disguise of white magic being following Christ. See then what Azazel has done, how he taught all iniquity on the earth and revealed the eternal secrets that are made in heaven. And Semyaza has made known spells, he to whom you gave authority to rule over those who are with him. And they went into the daughters of men together, lay with those women, became unclean, and revealed to them these sins. So they taught the woman how to put makeup on them and put eyeliner on, and then they had sex with them. And the woman bore giants, and thereby the whole earth has been filled with blood and iniquity, because once again these fallen giants taught them even more degeneracy and brought even more destruction upon the earth. Book of Enoch, chapter 15, verse 3. Why have you left the high, holy and eternal heaven, and laid with women, and became unclean with the daughters of men, and taken wives for yourselves, and done as the sons of the earth, and begotten giant sons? Again, you see the reference, Genesis 6, 1-4. This is just to show that in the times of Noah, there were giants. Chapter 15, verse 8. And now the giants who were born from body and flesh will be called evil spirits on the earth, and on the earth will be their dwelling. And evil spirits came out from their flesh, because from above they were created. From the holy watchers was their origin and first foundation. Evil spirits there will be on earth, and spirits of the evil ones will they be called. And the dwelling of the spirits in heaven is heaven, but the dwelling of the spirits on the earth who were born on the earth is earth. Once again, this is referencing the giants who were born of women. And the spirits of the giants do wrong, are corrupt, attack, fight, break on the earth, and cause sorrow. And they eat not food, do not thirst, and are not observed. So we see what had happened, right? We have eaten of the forbidden fruit. Therefore we became aware of our capacity to do evil, to do wicked. And out of that came the possibility for sexual desire and lust. So what those who fell from heaven did, the fallen angels, because they were once with God, is they taught the women to put on makeup, to prostitute themselves so they can have sex with them. And then God punished them for their sins. And then these giants came on earth. And now here it says that the giants still dwell on earth, or that on earth will be their dwelling. Now time is not specified, but what I'm trying to get to is that there were these giants in the time of Noah. Okay, and so we see in Luke 17:26, just as it was in the days of Noah, so also it will be in the days of the Son of Man. Now, it is not entirely clear to me what this is alluding to, but my theory is, which I put in parentheses, possible, is that these could be referencing either the fallen angels or the giants, which will also return in the days of the Son of Man. For those of you who don't know, the days of the Son of Man is the end times when Christ will return. Here we see as well Matthew chapter 24, verse 37 to 39. For as were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day when Noah entered the ark, and they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. So will be the coming of the Son of Man. So here we have the third theme or possibility, which I can decipher out of reading Revelations and end time prophecy, is that it could be potentially that you will have fallen angels or giants in the end times. Now, obviously, we know from studying the scriptures that demons are already here right now. Fallen angels are already here right now. But they are not openly manifested as they were in those times. It's all been quote unquote spiritualized nowadays because there's no physical evidence. What I'm talking about is literal physical presence and evidence. Because we can see in 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 1, I've read this earlier, that the Spirit expressively says that in later times some will depart from the faith by devoting themselves to deceitful spirits and teachings of demons. So these things are already here. When you look outside in the world, when you see how God's laws are being abolished, this is already happening. These things and these spirits and these teachings are already here. The demons are already within people. So this is already happening. But what I've read could allude to the fact that giants or the Nephilim and fallen angels might return in the end times and could play a part in this great deception and supposed fake war. Once again, this is a theory, but in this fake war or great deception, they could be partaking. We're going to get to that though. So here are the three themes which we've established now, and we're going to start first with the giants because I have some interesting things that I just want to point out to you which have happened. A major one which has happened in 2024 which I want to quickly go over with you and show you in depth, which is an event which happened in which a lot of people said giants appeared. And without further ado, let me give you the facts here. So now let's get into the giants. Now, before we get into the chapter with the giants, which I'm not gonna waste too much time on, I just want to make it very clear at this point that my goal is not to convince you of anything. I'm just laying out the facts for you. So, some of you might already believe in giants or in aliens or in demons. Some of you might not. My video is for two kinds of people. The first kind of person is the person who already knows a lot of the stuff which I'm talking about, right? For example, the celebrities. You probably already know that they're all demonic, that they're all in a club, that there's deception in every governing body. You probably know a lot of these things already. And so my goal with when I'm showing you these things is not necessarily to convince you or to give you a new opinion. The information is already out there. This is not supposed to be a video of like me trying to convince you that giants exist or that giants are roaming the earth. Well, more so my goal is, if you're, for example, already a person who believes in a lot of these things and in the supernatural and is aware of a lot of stuff that is going on, even though others might call you a conspiracy theorist. If that's the type of person you are, who is already awake to a lot of things, and you can look into society and you can see the disparity or the way people are sleeping or deceived, right? For example, how people just think there's nothing wrong with Hollywood and the music industry, and that's just all normal and nothing to see here. Or like Epstein's List, a stupid one. Some people just don't know any of these things because all they watch is legacy media and whatever is on TV. And, if you're somebody though who's already aware of a lot of the things which I'm going to talk about, the goal of this video and especially of this second part here is really to lay all the options out in front of you, to equip you with the biblical scriptures as well. Because if you're anything like me, you're noticing weird things are happening. The explosion of technology, AI, all of the bizarre things happening around us at the moment. I'm going to get into all of that in a second. But if you're anything like me, you ponder, you ask yourself, what's the future going to be? What's the future going to look like? And you ask yourself even deeper questions. Why are we here? What's the point of all of this, right? And if you're like me, you follow Christ, then you for sure have looked at Revelation before and wondered, How is this really going to happen? Is it going to be in my lifetime? And a lot of you probably already have theories surrounding this, right? For example, when I say Project Bluebeam, some of you are already going to know what that is. Some of you might not, which is totally fine. Just keep watching. I'll explain it. But what I'm trying to do with this video is lay out all the options in front of you. So I'm gonna waste, quote unquote, waste a little bit of time talking about the giants. And then I'm gonna talk a little bit about some other things which we have observed the past few years, especially. And then I'm going to lay out every single option, every single thing that could happen during the end times. And then you can make your own picture. You can take that information which you want. You can leave that out which you don't want. But whatever might happen, I will have told you that this could be happening and what this could mean if we take Revelation into consideration. Because I'm just going to assume that if you're still watching at this point, which is probably more like 2 hours deep in the video, first of all, thank you for watching. I've spent a lot of time on this video, that you probably follow Christ and you do not want to be deceived. You do not want to worship the beast. And so this is also to help you realize the signs, to once again equip you with scripture so that when the things happen which are inevitably going to happen, in whichever way they are exactly going to happen, you are prepared and you will know what to do and you can be sure of your decision, even if God knows the internet turns off or the whole society turns against you, right? If we look back a few years ago, things have happened where all of a sudden everybody seems to almost attack you or get personal with you if you just don't buy the narrative, right? But so let's get into this chapter here of giants. And once again, this is not here to convince you, but just to show you some of the information, some of the things that's out there. And if you're the second type of person which is watching my video, which maybe isn't quite sure and doesn't have such strong beliefs or views yet, then I'm just once again here to give you some information. For example, if I'm going to talk about giants, the point is not for you to listen to my arguments or listen to what I'm going to show you and then conclude, okay, giants exist, giants are on the earth. It should at the very least just be like, that's interesting. It should open your mind and then you go do your own research. When I say do your own research, if what you understand is go to Google and type "are giants real?" It's like obviously, you know. But once again, I'm just gonna have to assume at some level or another you're already aware of certain things, such as that, for example, you can't just Google stuff anymore and expect to get truthful results about the things that truly matter, right? Anyway, let's get into this. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna show you a few different examples where giants could have been on Earth potentially and could be on Earth still or have revealed themselves recently. This is once again just to give you the possibility that maybe when it says it will be in the time of the Son of Man, it will be like in the days of Noah, that maybe if that happens, you will know, okay, this could actually happen, depending on how you interpret the Bible. So I want to talk about a story, or more so an event which happened in January of 2024, which happened at the Miami Mall. Now, some of you might be already aware of what happened there, some of you might not. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown. Basically, what happened is these news came out, and they weren't in mainstream news. It wasn't really pushed in the news, but the news came out that there was supposedly some teenagers who had like a brawl, and some teenagers were like using firecrackers, and then people thought these were gunshots, and all hell broke loose and people started storming out of there, and hundreds of police cars showed up. I'm going to show you the video right now real quick. Look at how many police cars showed up.
Esta es una llamada a todas las unidades de la ciudad de Miami. Esto es en Bayside ahora. ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? 9:35 de la noche de hoy, 1 de enero. frente a Bayside. No sabemos qué está pasando. Bueno, para que sean testigos de cuando se produce una llamada a todas las unidades. Y las
But all you read in the news was that, oh, there were just some kids playing with fireworks and they had a little brawl. They even showed a video, which I'm going to show you right here.
Side marketplace, groups fighting, lighting fireworks and damaging stores. Amanda Placencia is live in downtown.
And they said that all of this took place in the shopping mall. You can see the people running away here in terror and panic. I'm going to show you a few clips here as well.
For people inside Bayside. As officers
And after this had happened, multiple witnesses came out and said that there was a giant there, a big, tall creature, about 8 to 10 feet tall, which is why the people started to panic and they started to run. Multiple witnesses came out and talked about this, and they said there was no brawl. Some people started shooting at the giant because they were so scared, or at the tall creature. And when you think about it, if you look at that video of how many cops were there, and you think, oh, this was just some teenager brawl, or some teenagers playing with fireworks, we have seen similar events happening, and nowhere near as many cop cars showed up. I mean, this is insane how many cop cars showed up, and to this day, the official narrative is that, oh, it was just some firecrackers, some stupid teenagers, and they arrested 4 teenagers. But look at how many cops were there. And a lot of witnesses came out and talked about how they saw this creature. I'm going to show you a guy right now.
So, since nobody's going to talk about it, I figured, fuck it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was down in Miami for the New Year's, you know what I'm saying? Me and my girl, I got a little timeshare. We was down there on a mini vacay, just to start the New Year's off right. So anyway, we happened to be at that mall. So we had Foot Locker or whatever. Next thing you know, you start hearing all this commotion outside, sound like firecrackers or something. So, you know what I'm saying? I grab her close. I'm like, yo, we about to get up out of here, because I originally thought that they were shooting. You know what I'm saying? I thought, some type of gunfight had broke out, whatever the case is, because we're not familiar with Miami, we're not familiar with the city. So I'm like, damn, I ain't even got my blick. So you know what I'm saying? We about to swerve. Next thing I know, it's like crazy. Like, we just see all these people running, like, fat chicks, old ladies, like, I'm talking about moving. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, old people even move. I'm talking about moving. So, my girl, she like, what's going on? I'm like, fuck all that. We out. Like, I'm not going to ask no questions. We just going to follow the crowd. Next thing you know, real, like, gunshots start going off. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we trying to follow the crowd, get out of there. I look back, no cap, yo. No cap. I look back. It looked like a big ass shadow, but it was solid at the same time. Like a few shadows, but they were solid at the same time. And it almost looked like they was coming our direction, like they was chasing us, but they was disappearing and reappearing closer. So I'm like, yo, what? So we start really moving. Next thing you know, we start hearing more gunshots. Like, these dudes start firing at this shit. Get outside, mad police, all that. You know what I'm saying? The police is like trying to get all the people that ran out the mall. They like trying to detain these people, whatever. But me and my girl, we ended up just sliding past all that and everything like that. But a lot of people saying, why didn't nobody film and all that? When that type of shit is going on, you know what I'm saying, shit like that, like some paranormal, nobody thinking about no phone. You know what I'm saying? Everybody going survival mode. But for real, they lying, yo. It was they all them officers and all that. They was not there because of no kids fighting. It was really some like movie shit going on in there, yo. So that's what it was, yo.
Now, to me, it doesn't seem like he's necessarily lying, but we don't know if he's telling the truth either. But there is one video clip where the scenery is filmed from above, which might be the one I've showed you earlier, where you can actually see a gigantic figure slowly walking.
We have something to discuss here about an alien, potentially. Miami police clearing up some conspiracy theories about a recent invasion. On New Year's Day, a large police presence was caught on video surrounding a mall in Miami. Perhaps you saw this, a video posted online claiming it was due to an alien sighting in that area. So what really happened?
Look at that police presence. That's
yeah,
for a fight.
Lot.
Come on.
Police say a group of 50 teenagers started a fight after setting off fireworks, looting. The alien, in air quotes, in the video was really just a tall person walking.
It was not. Who said that? Where'd that come from?
According to police reports.
Police did not say the alien was just a tall person.
Well, I said the tall part. The alien,
No,
they said it was just a person walking.
A 9-foot person?
Well, this does remind me of other stories where you guys have believed that, remember.
Now, there were quite a lot of people coming out and giving testimonies that about what they saw. I'll show you some clips of another guy as well here real quick. This guy even claimed to have official video recordings of the incident.
When should the world expect to see this footage?
So I don't really have a time frame of when, because we're still waiting to see how everything plays out. It's still an ongoing situation at this moment. We're hoping, I would love for it to be released as soon as possible. But these things have to be handled gently, just due to the sensitive nature. But what I can say is that the footage is unsettling. I've just been sharing a lot of like reenactments and stuff that's close to our experience so that people can get an idea. When you see footage like this, it's, everyone thinks that, yeah, it's been normalized in our media, but when you actually see it, it kicks in later. Like it did for me and my brother and my family. It kicked in later for us that we actually like realized, what a footage means. Obviously Hollywood and films, you've seen like depictions of aliens and stuff, but it's not real. When it's real, you see it at first, but it kicks in later. Later that we're not really alone. And different people have interpreted it differently.
This obviously makes you emotional. Am I right? And where have you and your family been staying?
We have been staying in different places. Obviously, I'm not going to, reveal where we've been staying just for our family's safety. And there's going to be a lot of people asking, who we're telling our story to. Just to protect like the media and production team, we're not disclosing any of that.
Are you afraid of people coming after you?
Yeah, I definitely am. Because it's actually been a situation where people have been trying to sabotage certain things. I don't know who. You could probably assume who it is, but I don't want to upset anyone more than I've already have. But yeah, we are just not disclosing much. We're just trying to keep our lips shut about everything, with regard to anything that could sabotage what we're, us telling our story. But most of the people that I actually showed it to were incredibly unsettled. They couldn't sleep after. I think that people develop some type of post-traumatic stress disorder from it. Because it's more like knowing that there is something out there that we can't possibly see or communicate with that could just pop in and out. You almost feel like we are, they're obviously aware of us, but we have not been aware of them. So it kind of gives them that upper hand over our species. And it's just weird knowing that. It is unsettling when you think about it when you're alone. It's very uncomfortable because most people have kind of gone with their daily lives thinking, okay, we're alone. This is just it. Pay our bills. But when you actually know that we're not alone, that's different. Then you're led to more questions about what's out there. What does this all mean? It makes you question your reality. And I think it sets up the situation for, you questioning your reality and a possible mass psychosis or something. I could see why, people would be uncertain. So we're working with, a media team to tell our story in the right way, and in a way where we can share the footage, in a safe way.
A lot of stuff has happened since you released your eyewitness account.
I honestly didn't think that it was going to be paid attention to because there were so many people that were like lying and saying stuff online. And to be honest, there was a lot of people there that night. So not everyone saw the same thing. There was a lot of people that were just running because other people were running. And it was only like a small portion of the market goers that actually saw what happened. It wasn't like everyone. It was, there were people there for sure. But I would not say that everybody saw it. I think that like what was interesting about our story was that the most interesting part is like what happened after. And, even though the incident itself was like scary, I think what terrified me more is just human beings and like what we are capable of to each other. Because we've been harassed. A lot of stuff has happened to us afterwards that we're going to release later on and tell everybody exactly what happened.
Your apartment was set on fire.
Yeah, we came home one day, there was an explosion, and we saw that our apartment had been set on fire. So since then, we've been moving around, but we're in just different places at the moment.
And why are you speaking to us now?
Well, I'm speaking now because I think that it's been some time. We were hoping for the internet hype to go down, because, I think because everything was going viral, it only made everything a little bit more, amped up. So I had been slowly waiting for some time to kind of really work with people and give my story. In the time that like everything started, we'd been in touch with various, companies and, media teams to give out our story. And we finally settled, when we were able to. And when it was safe to, we wanted to tell our story to the right people who would make sure that that our account would be taken very sensitively, just due to the nature of, all the harassment and us being sought after. Yeah.
A lot of witnesses who were there claimed that the police deleted the footage from their phone.
Yeah, there were a lot of people there. That's true. They, people had their phones taken away and video files deleted, us included. But what made our situation a little bit different is that I do have footage, and I didn't take it on a smartphone. And since we've already given some of the footage to the people we gave our story to. A lot of people don't really know me like that, and I get it, but I'm kind of like a 90s guy. And I like collecting retro things from the 90s. Like, for example, I still have a flip phone, like that I carry around on me, pretty often. And, and whenever I go on vacations with my family, I do take a VHS camcorder. And that night when everyone was getting their phones confiscated and files deleted, nobody noticed that I had a VHS camcorder, like, at all. No one even would suspect someone of having a VHS camcorder. No, they weren't paying attention. And so, yeah, I have the footage here. Yeah, it's a family trip vacation gone pretty weird.
That's the most important tape in human history.
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot, that this could be the most consequential piece of footage in human history. Yeah.
It seems like he is sort of scared or unsure about releasing them. Later on, he drew a drawing of what they looked like. You can actually see on the top right of his drawing that it says "Help Me" inscribed very small. Now, he released some more videos where he was supposedly being chased by the quote-unquote men in black, and he escaped like a hospital.
What the fuck? So after the explosion, they detained you and took you to the hospital where you would wait for government officials to come by and pick you up. But you managed to somehow escape custody, get your belongings, until suddenly the alarms go off and you knew it was for you. And you managed to escape safely.
After Miami, like, it was just the start of a chain of events that people don't know about. And it was a cat and mouse game, basically. And I documented the whole thing. So along with the footage, we're also going to be telling that story as well. Like, you guys won't believe what happened.
He's a whistleblower. That's illegal. He's protecting the Whistleblowers Act.
Now, once again, a lot of people are saying that this looks fake, and it does look a little bit staged. I don't know, it does seem a little bit suspicious. But he's since been missing. Account deleted. Haven't heard of him since. But interestingly enough, the first guy I showed you later came out as well and said, oh, he was just trolling.
How I wake up, my jumping like the trap. Nah, but for real, like real shit though, on the dead homies, I was trolling. I ain't never even been to Miami. Shit, yo, y'all be bugging. Yo, real shit though, y'all stay away from them aliens and all that. Y'all be safe out there.
Yo, crazy. I never been to Miami in my life. I was dead trolling, yo. Y'all can't be that gullible, yo. I was just dead ass trolling. I've never been to Miami. I'm not in danger. I'm chilling. Like, real, I mean, fuck it. Y'all want to make me go viral? I don't give a fuck. But yo, listen, for real, I was trolling. I'm chilling. What's wrong with y'all? Shit crazy, yo. Y'all bugging.
No, I don't know about you guys, but that first video seems pretty genuine. And it's not like any of these two were like TikTokers before that, because they uploaded that on TikTok and were interested in followers or whatever. No, these were both their first videos, basically. The thing which is interesting, which is also what he said in the testimony, is that the cops started to take away the people's phone. And they also said that the cops would delete any pictures or videos anybody might have had. Now, why the hell would the cops be doing this? There's also a video of this guy calling his father who was with the police force in Miami. So I'm going to show you this real quick.
I just talked to him. He didn't say anything about that. Hey. Hey, did you, have you been seeing the alien stuff? Did you see that at Bayside? Are you serious? You're joking. You're joking. Did they tell you not to talk about it?
How many times do you want me to slice the pie? I'm not allowed to talk about it.
What?
I do know what you're talking about, but I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Can you at least say like whatever? So okay, so they're saying it's like a fight broke out. Why did they send so many police cars? Are you serious? You can't say any.
I don't know what else you want me to say.
You're no help, dude.
I'm sorry.
And why is there no video evidence at all? They say this brawl took place in the mall. There's not a single bit of body cam footage. There's not a single CCTV inside of the mall which picked anything up, nor is there a single recording. Now, if you know anything about America or Miami, is that if there's a brawl of teenagers fighting in the mall, people will not run like that.
As officers
groups fighting, lighting fireworks, and damaging stores. Amanda Placencia is live in downtown.
As a matter of fact, people will go towards it and they'll start filming it. But there is no recording except that clip which they showed, which isn't even happening inside of the mall. So something seems off. Now, that's not all of it. While this was happening, there was a power outage right in that area which affected over 60,000 people for 5 hours. The airport of Miami was also shut down during that time. There was no more air travel and they established a no-flying zone in that whole area. And all the police scanners were turned off. Now you gotta ask yourself, why is this happening? Why do we still to this day not know what happened? What about those witnesses? What about those witnesses who then all of a sudden started to do a 180 and say, oh, don't, I was just trolling, I was just lying and making stuff up? We still don't know what happened to them. So this was just one of many incidents where it's like if Legacy News says one thing, I guess people just believe it. But there's still a lot of questions which are unanswered, and many people are not buying the story. Till this day, when you go to the comment section of these news reports or articles, people are like literally talking about the New World Order and how this might even be part of Project Bluebeam and a lot of these things. Again, I'm going to get into Project Bluebeam in detail. But there's a lot of these events, and at least be open-minded enough for the possibility of fallen giants being on Earth, or fallen giants revealing themselves, or that fallen giants might reveal themselves if we were in the end times. Because you can say we're not in the end times yet, sure, but at least be open-minded to the possibility that this could be happening if we are in end times. Because here is really what has happened the last few years. I've alluded to this earlier, is that everything has become quote unquote over spiritualized. A lot of people have forgotten that there are genuine beings and creatures which are non-human, which have existed in biblical times, right? Because if you look at the families who rule the world, it's always the same bloodlines. We don't know who the people behind the curtain truly are and who they worship and where they get the information from, where they get their technology from. There are a bunch of these events taking place where people come out and they say they have seen these creatures, they have seen them. But unfortunately, we have no concrete evidence or video footage. Now, here comes to mind where it also says that they cannot be observed. And if you remember the description of that thing or entity which he saw, he said it was like shadows. And a lot of people also speculate that when you're surrounded or in their close proximity, that they emit a certain signal which prevents your phone from recording or properly recording. Now, once again, in all fairness, if we read Enoch chapter 15, verse 8 again, and now the giants who were born from body and flesh will be called evil spirits on the earth, and on the earth will be their dwelling. It does seem like the reason they are not observed is because they're now spiritual and no longer physical. And I can totally get this interpretation. Because we also see in Book of Enoch, chapter 11, and the spirits of the giants do wrong and corrupt, attack, fight, break on the earth and cause sorrow. And they eat no food, do not thirst, and are not observed. So this would indicate that they are indeed not physical anymore. But to me, from reading the text, it is not entirely clear if this is talking about forever or if there's going to be a return of them in the times of the Son of Man. Now, if this is all just a hoax or not, I'll let you be the judge of that. And once again, the point is not necessarily to convince you that this truly happened or didn't happen. The point is just to show you that not everything you've been told is a conspiracy really is just that, a baseless conspiracy. And this is also not even close to the only incident. Now, for time's sake, I'm not going to go into everything, but you can look these things up yourself. I just really wanted to talk about the Miami Mall incident because it is one of the more recent ones where we can clearly see that the legacy media is somehow hiding something, or at least not intentionally not giving us the full picture. And yeah, you will see more events such as these in the future. I can promise you that. Now, it really depends on where you have your where you get your sources from. If all you watch is legacy news, then you might not be notified of a lot of things happening. But if you have certain other places where you get your news from, or your news isn't just simply only legacy media, then yeah, you'll see stuff like this. Depending on how you interpret the Bible, there will be giants in the end times, and we have some conspiracies that contain the sightings of giants. But let's not jump to definitive conclusions. Let's just be open to the possibility and keep that in mind as we move on. Before I finish off this chapter of the video, I also just want to quickly say thank you to the YouTube channel Minutes of Horror, who has provided me a lot of the clips I've used in this video. I'm going to link him in the description, and I'm also going to quickly put him on the screen. If you're interested in other places where you can get your news that is not legacy media, he is one of the channels I recommend. He generally does a lot of conspiracy stuff, and some of them I truly do think are just conspiracies without much to it, but there's a lot of his videos which are more than just conspiracies, because he's not very biased, he stays very unbiased, and he usually gives both perspectives, and he just states the fact, and you can come to your own conclusion. So if there's a place you're looking for where if something big were to happen that the legacy media is not representing properly, there's a good chance it might be on that channel. So check it out if you feel like it.